Very good morning. You're watching Breakfast News on Rajya TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's start the bulletin with the top stories. Ahead of the budget session, Prime Minister Narendra Modi meets floor leaders of all parties, seeks their cooperation in the smooth functioning of Parliament. Amid raging protest at JNU, it emerges their student leader Kanhaiya Kumar may not have been involved in anti-national sloganeering. Delhi police counters. Protests now spread to Jadavpur. Supreme Court declines Congress petition to maintain status quo in Arunachal Pradesh, refuses to stay formation of new government in the state. Top oil producers agree to freeze output on January levels, urge other producers to follow suit after meeting in Doha. And Syrian government approves aid deliveries to besieged towns. This as Turkey pushes for ground action in Syria despite no consensus among allies. Well, the Union Cabinet will meet at 10:30 a.m. today. Revocation of President's rule in Arunachal Pradesh is likely to be considered at the meeting. Dissident Congress leader Kalikho Phul has staked claim to form the government, saying he has enough support to be the state's new chief minister. Also, the Prime Minister will chair the meeting of full Council of Ministers in the evening today. He will review the implementation status of key decisions taken by the Cabinet. This will be the second such review meeting that the Prime Minister will undertake with the Council of Ministers in just about 3 weeks. The Prime Minister had chaired a similar meeting of the Council of Ministers on the 27th of January. And the government on Tuesday assured opposition parties that it was willing to discuss all issues in the forthcoming budget session. At a meeting with floor leaders of major political parties, the Prime Minister sought their cooperation for the smooth running of Parliament. Opposition leaders, however, raised several concerns, including the recent JNU controversy.
सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने एक स्वर से, कुछ पार्टीज है तो जोर दे के कहा सदन चलना चाहिए, किसी परिस्थिति में सदन का गतिरोध नहीं होना चाहिए।
हम तो हमेशा इस मत के हैं कि बिल पास होने चाहिए, कानून पास होने चाहिए और हर बिल मेरिट पे उसकी चर्चा होगी।
The government and the opposition speaking in one voice at the end of a 2-hour-long meeting of floor leaders of major political parties on Tuesday. But at the meeting convened by the Prime Minister, that was perhaps the only point of agreement, with both sides taking up divergent positions on the JNU controversy.
The government stand is an inquiry is on, let the inquiry be completed. One. Secondly, these slogans or these posters are totally highly objectionable. That has been made very clear. As for the issues of criticism of calling somebody this, somebody that, somebody calling anti-national, somebody calling parochial, somebody calling communal and all, such things should be avoided by one and all.
यहाँ JNU के जो स्टूडेंट्स यूनियन के प्रेसिडेंट हैं कन्हैया कुमार, उन्होंने कोई भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के खिलाफ या देश की एकता अखंडता के खिलाफ कोई भी ऐसी बात नहीं बताई है, तो उनको सेडिशन केस में बंद कर दिया गया है। ये अनुचित, लेकिन हमने ये भी बता दिया कि ऐसे लोग जो देश के खिलाफ है उनको हमारा कोई समर्थन नहीं, उनकी कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए। लेकिन साथ साथ ही जिन्होंने 2 साल से नेशनल एटमॉस्फेयर विशेड किया है, उनके खिलाफ भी तो कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए।
With just a week to go for budget session, the Prime Minister assured the opposition that the government is willing to discuss all issues on the floor of the House, even as it sought their support in the smooth functioning of Parliament. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya TV, Delhi.
Now, with the Supreme Court putting no hurdle in the formation of a new government, the Union Cabinet may recommend revocation of President's rule in Arunachal Pradesh very soon. The Home Ministry is said to be waiting for a report from Governor J.P. Rajkhowa about the latest political situation in the state. Amid reports that central rule in the state may be revoked, Congress made a strong plea to President Pranab Mukherjee against considering any such move, saying it would amount to perpetuating constitutional illegality. A party delegation led by Ghulam Nabi Azad, along with Anand Sharma and Kapil Sibal, met the president and alleged that Governor J.P. Rajkhova intended to swear in dissident Congress leader Kalikho Pul as the new chief minister. The controversial actions of the Arunachal Pradesh governor were raised also by the Congress at the all-party meeting convened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday. Now, the apex court had refused to stay the formation of a new government in the state on Tuesday. This came a day after Congress dissident leader Kalikho Pul claimed he had enough support to be the state's new chief minister. The court also declined the Congress's petition to maintain status quo in Arunachal Pradesh.
Now, what is the so hurry to claim for formation of government at this hour, where matter is pending before the court? They don't have any respect for our judiciary. They don't respect the law. They don't respect the Constitution of India. Who is going to form the government? Congress or BJP? Collective of all political parties cannot form a government according to 10th schedule.
And we hope that the Supreme Court ultimately will do complete justice in the matter. Supreme Court has not passed any orders, either this way or that way. It has not rejected the application either.
Can Governor welcome somebody to form government?
Well, that's to be seen. We will see. At the moment, that situation hasn't arisen because the proclamation has not been withdrawn. So when the proclamation is withdrawn, then only the question of formation of government will arise.
The Income Tax Department has issued a reminder notice to Vodafone over its 14,200 crore tax dues. While the government says it is a routine exercise, the UK firm says the notice shows disconnect with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's promise of a tax-friendly environment. Revenue Secretary Hasmukh Adhia tweeted, and I quote, "The notice in Vodafone case is a routine exercise of sending collection notice to all those whose dues are not stayed by any court," unquote. The IT department on the 4th of February sent a notice to Vodafone International Holdings seeking 14,200 rupees crore in taxes, which it says is due from its $11 billion acquisition of Hutchinson Whampoa's India Telecom business in 2007. The matter is under international arbitration. The British telecom major has disputed the tax demand over its acquisition, arguing that no tax was due as the transaction was conducted offshore. But the IT department says that capital gains were made on assets in India. The Vodafone case relates to the retrospective amendment of the IT laws carried out by the UPA government in 2012 to overturn the Supreme Court verdict, which had favoured Vodafone.
Unfortunately, we feel that there is a communication gap between the policymaker as well as the recovery department, and the recovery department keeps sending one after the another reminder or the pressurizing the people to pay the taxes.
They have no idea how to, they're not getting enough money basically. The revenues are down, collections are down, the private sector is not performing, banks have lost a huge percentage of their wealth. So they now want more money.
Interest on short-term post office saving deposits has been cut by 0.25%, while the rate on Employees Provident Fund has been increased marginally to 8.8%. The Finance Ministry has cut interest rate on post office savings of 1, 2 and 3-year terms, Kisan Vikas Patra as well as 5-year recurring deposits. It has, however, left long-term instruments such as monthly investment scheme, PPF, senior citizen and girl child plans untouched. With a view to align small saving interest rates with broad-based banking rates, the Finance Ministry said the 0.25% higher interest rate that post office savings of 1, 2 and 3-year term deposits, Kisan Vikas Patra as well as 5-year recurring deposits earned over similar tenure. Government securities will be withdrawn from the 1st of April. The ministry also announced that henceforth, the rates on small saving schemes would be revised every quarter. The move, it added, would help the economy move to a lower overall interest rate regime eventually and thereby help all, particularly low-income and salaried classes. The government has also permitted premature closure of PPF accounts in genuine cases like cases of serious ailment, higher education of children, etc. And amid a raging debate over slapping of sedition charges against JNU Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar, it has now emerged that he may not be involved at all in anti-national sloganeering at all as per security agencies. The agencies have apprised the Home Ministry of this finding. The centre, however, has also received a report from the Delhi police, which claims it has material evidence against the arrested JNU leader. Here's the latest on the issue. Amid growing outrage over the arrest of JNU Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar and slapping of sedition charges against him, the security agencies have reportedly informed the Home Ministry that Kumar may not have made an inflammatory speech at the JNU event. According to a PTI report, security agencies have conveyed to the Home Ministry that even though Kanhaiya Kumar was present at the event commemorating the death of Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru, he possibly did not raise any anti-India slogan. The report further claims that the anti-India slogans were raised by students belonging to Democratic Students' Union, considered to be a front of CPI Maoists, while the arrested leader belongs to the AISF, the students' wing of the CPI. This revelation, however, contradicts claims made by the Delhi police, which maintains it has material evidence against the JNU Students' Union president.
जो indications हैं, जो available evidence के basis पे, उसके मुताबिक कन्हैया को गिरफ्तार किया गया है. He was present at the spot.
A senior police officer from Maharashtra also claims that the probe conducted so far into arrested DU Professor G.N. Sai Baba's alleged Maoist links has found that both DU and JNU have a large number of left-wing radical students who are in touch with Kashmiri extremist groups.
G.N. Sai Baba ये भले ही दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के प्राध्यापक थे, लेकिन दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी और जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी इन दोनों यूनिवर्सिटीज में डेमोक्रेटिक स्टूडेंट्स यूनियन नाम की इनकी एक माओइस्ट फ्रंट है. ये माओइस्ट फ्रंट बड़ी एक्टिव है.
Meanwhile, protests continue to escalate inside the JNU campus. The varsity teachers have also joined the indefinite strike started by students. They say they are now planning to take classes on nationalism in the university lawns.
तो वहाँ कोई हथियार लेके तो नहीं गए थे. हम तो वहाँ पे कोर्ट में खड़े होकर दलील सुनना चाहते थे. हम चाहते थे कि कोर्ट का पक्ष जो है वो भी हम जानें. और क्या ये जानना दुश्वार है?
Hundreds of journalists also took to streets on Tuesday, protesting against the attack on media crew outside the Patiala House Court complex on Monday. They also sought the Supreme Court's intervention in protecting freedom of speech.
Why were journalists who were just there to do their job attacked in the way that they have been? मुझे लगता है कि इसमें immediate action होनी चाहिए because this is directly related to the freedom of press.
The political slugfest over the JNU incident also continues. At the all-party meet convened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday, the opposition parties in one voice protested against the pressing of sedition charges against the JNU leader.
Students Union के president हैं कन्हैया कुमार. उन्होंने कोई भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के खिलाफ या देश की एकता अखंडता के खिलाफ कोई भी ऐसी बात नहीं बताई है, तो उनको सेडिशन केस में बंद कर दिया गया है. ये अनुचित.
And amidst all the chaos in Delhi, the JNU fire seems to be spreading to other universities as well. On Tuesday, students of the Jadavpur University took out a torch rally and shouted slogans against the hanging of Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Now, in a major reshuffle, Home Ministry has transferred Delhi's anti-corruption branch chief M.K. Meena along with 13 senior Delhi police officials. The ACB chief, whose appointment last year led to acrimony between the Aam Aadmi Party government and the centre, has been shifted to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Although no official reason has been presented for the transfers, Meena would be relieved of his charge as ACB chief on the 1st of April. Deputy Commissioner of Police for South Division, Joint Commissioner of Police for Central Division and Special Commissioner of Police for Traffic are among those who have been transferred. The transfer of officials comes amid attack on Delhi police by opposition parties in the wake of the JNU incident and alleged inaction by the police during the assault on journalists outside the Patiala House Court complex on Monday. With that, we slip into a very short break. All the international news to follow on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
The news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast News. Now, the 8th edition of the Delhi Dialogue hosted by India on ASEAN-India relations will begin in Delhi today. The three-day event is to discuss regional security, economic engagement and trade and security with ASEAN nations. Delhi Dialogue will see attendance by political leaders, policy makers, senior officials, diplomats, business leaders and academicians from ASEAN countries and India. The first day of the event will be addressed by presidents of FICCI, CII and ASSOCHAM and the Secretary East of the MEA. The session for inter-ministerial dialogue will take place on the 18th of February and will be inaugurated by External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj.
We are opening the dialogue with a business session because it is fitting since the ASEAN Economic Community, a major milestone in the ASEAN Regional Economic Integration Agenda, has come into existence on 31st of December 2015. And it will be the fourth largest economy in the world, offering new opportunities in the form of a huge and largely middle-income market of 622 million people.
And now a look at what's expected to make news through the day in our segment, The Day Ahead. Today, the Supreme Court will give an urgent hearing to a plea that seeks action against those involved in beating up journalists and students and teachers of the JNU outside the Patiala House Court complex on Monday. The petition has been filed by ND Jayaprakash, an alumni of JNU who was injured in the attack. Accepted by the court on Tuesday, the plea also demands that security measures in the court complex should be such that no person becomes a victim of violence. JNU Students' Union President Kanhaiya Kumar will be produced before the Patiala House Court today as his two-day police custody ends. Kumar was arrested on the 12th of February on charges of sedition for organizing an event inside the varsity to commemorate Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru. The Assam Gan Parishad has called for an executive meeting in Guwahati today to discuss matters relating to the forthcoming assembly polls in the state. The party leaders are expected to take a final call on forming an alliance with the BJP. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu will lay the foundation stone of the state's temporary secretariat near Vijayawada today. The construction of the secretariat building is expected to be completed in 4 months. Two construction majors have agreed to complete the 6 lakh square feet of building space by the 15th of June. And on to some international news now. Top global oil exporters, including Russia and Saudi Arabia, have agreed to freeze output to tackle a global glut. But they say the deal was contingent on other producers. The decision was taken at a meeting in Doha on Tuesday. Iran, of course, was absent from the meeting and plans to ramp up shipments.
The Saudi, Russian, Qatari and Venezuelan oil ministers were in Doha for their highest level discussion in months on joint action to help prices recover from their lowest in more than a decade.
4 countries, in order to stabilize the oil market, agreed to freeze the production at January level, provided that other major producers follow suit.
The leaders hoped other producers would adopt the proposal, adding that more talks would take place with other oil producers imminently.
We will start intensive communication almost straight away with other major producers, OPEC, non-OPEC, including Iran and Iraq.
Saudi Minister Ali Al-Maimi said freezing production at January levels was an adequate measure and new steps to stabilize the market would be considered in the next few months.
The reason we here agreed to a potential freeze of production it is a beginning of a process which we will assess in the next few months and decide whether we need other steps to stabilize and improve the market.
Venezuela said it would strive to stabilize the market while sustaining production.
We are going to be working as Venezuela to stabilize the market. It's very important to get a fair price to sustain the level of investment that is required to sustain the production.
Oil prices rose to $35.55 per barrel after the news about the meeting, but later part gains to trade below $34 as expectations for an immediate deal faded. Iran has pledged to raise supply steeply in the months to come as it looks to regain market share lost after years of international sanctions, which were lifted in January. The Doha meeting came after more than 18 months of declining oil prices, knocking crude below $30 a barrel for the first time in over a decade. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The World Health Organization has said it may be necessary to use controversial methods like genetically modified mosquitoes to wipe out the insects that are now spreading Zika across the Americas. The virus has been linked to a spike in babies born with abnormally small heads or microcephaly in Brazil and French Polynesia. The WHO has declared Zika a global emergency, even though there is no definitive proof it is causing the birth defects. Next week, WHO Chief Dr. Margaret Chan will travel to Brazil to discuss Zika and microcephaly with the country's health minister and other officials. Now, in a statement, the WHO said its advisory group has recommended further field trials of genetically modified mosquitoes following trials in the Cayman Islands to fight dengue, where sterile male mosquitoes were released to mate with wild females. WHO said previous experiments in releasing sterile insects had been used by the other UN agencies to control agricultural pests. Environmentalists have previously criticized the genetically modified approach, saying it's impossible to know the long-term effects of wiping out an entire insect population. And the Syrian government has approved aid deliveries to besieged towns. The UN said starving town of Madaya, one of the worst hit, is their priority. Meanwhile, Turkey wants Syrian ground operations, but there is no consensus among the allies as of now. US President Barack Obama has ruled out a major offensive in Syria.
One of the points agreed by the world leaders in Munich put into action. Now the starving towns in war-torn Syria will receive aid deliveries. 7 areas have been marked by the UN which need dire attention. Syria accepted the terms after talks with UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura in Damascus on Tuesday. 500,000 Syrians live in besieged areas.
We have been particularly talking about the issue about humanitarian unhindered access to all besieged areas, not only by the government but also by the opposition and by ISIL. And we will have another follow-up meeting today.
Hopes for a ceasefire are fading as Turkey, Saudi Arabia and few European allies want a ground operation in Syria. However, there is no consensus. Russia warned Turkey and Saudi Arabia against sending ground troops to Syria. Turkey also came under fire from the UN as Security Council expressed concerns over Turkish shelling of Kurdish positions in Syria. Meanwhile, US President Barack Obama said Russia's involvement in Syria points to the weakness of Assad's government.
Putin may think that he's prepared to invest in a permanent occupation of Syria with Russian military. That's going to be pretty costly. That's going to be a big piece of business. What would be smarter would be for Russia to work with the United States and other parties in the international community to try to broker some sort of political transition.
The Turkish government is responsible of trading with ISIL, buying oil, gas and artifacts from ISIL, facilitating the movement of this trade, illegal, illegitimate trade of artifacts and gas and oil through Turkish territory, ending into some European capitals.
Heated words between the West and Russia has cast a shadow of doubt on a deal to enforce a nationwide ceasefire later this week. The Syrian UN ambassador Bashar Jafri also spoke in line with Assad during a closed-door Security Council meeting on Tuesday as he asked who would guarantee that the terrorists would respect the so-called ceasefire. However, the truce, which does not apply to jihadist groups, is expected to come into force later this week. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And for more international updates, here's a quick world wrap. Former UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali passed away on Tuesday at the age of 93. He died at a Cairo hospital after being admitted with a broken pelvis. As a mark of tribute, the 15-member UN Security Council observed a minute's silence. Boutros Ghali took office in 1992 and had played a decisive role in the Gulf War. The French Parliament on Tuesday voted to extend country's state of emergency until late May 26. French President François Hollande had declared a state of emergency since the 13th of November 2015, following terrorist attacks in the country. The emergency rule allows authorities to carry out police raids and put people under house arrest without prior authorization of a judge. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been placed under formal investigation over the 2012 campaign funding. He has, of course, denied all allegations. The case alleges that Sarkozy's campaign costs were more than twice the legal limit. Reports suggest Sarkozy was questioned all day on Tuesday before being informed that he was under investigation. Scientists on Tuesday claimed extraordinary success on new cancer treatment with stem cells. In one of their first clinical trials, they have engineered immune cells to target a specific type of blood cancer. In one study, 94% of participants with acute leukemia saw symptoms vanish completely. And on to some sports news now. India's regional supremacy went unchallenged as the hosts were crowned overall champions for the 12th consecutive time after notching up a record-breaking haul of 308 medals. On the last day, India whitewashed the boxing events with MC Mary Kom, Sarita Devi and Pooja Rani winning gold medals in their respective categories. India swept all 10 gold medals in boxing after hosts clinched all the 7 categories in the men's section yesterday. India also bagged 2 gold and 2 silver medals in judo, finishing the games with 9 gold and 3 silver medals. Union Minister for Sports and Youth Affairs Sarbanand Sonowal declared the games closed at a glittering closing ceremony held at Sarut Sajai Stadium in Guwahati. He also handed over the games flag to his counterpart of Nepal, the country that will host the next edition of the games in 2018. India broke their own medals record at this year's games. Their final tally came to 188 gold, 90 silver and 30 bronze. Sri Lanka were at a distant second with a total of 186 medals, including 25 gold. Pakistan finished third with 12 gold medals, followed by Afghanistan at the fourth place with 7 gold medals. And for some more sporting action, here's the sports beat. 5 times world champion Vishwanathan Anand finished second in the Zurich Chess Challenge. Hikaru Nakamura of the United States pipped the Indian for the top spot with a better tie-break score. Anand was tied with Nakamura for the first place, but an unannounced Armageddon game was played in which Nakamura won. Edinson Cavani came off the bench to give Paris Saint-Germain a 2-1 victory over Chelsea in the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie. PSG went ahead through Zlatan Ibrahimovic's deflected free kick, but John Michael Obi scored a precious away goal, capitalizing on some terrible defending. Cavani, who came as a substitute in the second half, scored the winning goal. The second leg of the tie will be played at Stamford Bridge on the 9th of March. The chief executive of Athletics Kenya has offered to step down temporarily amid allegations of taking bribes from athletes to reduce doping bans. Isaac Mwangi has denied wrongdoing but offered to leave his post for 21 days while the world governing body, the IAAF, investigates the claims. 2 suspended athletes claimed Mwangi had asked for money in exchange for more lenient punishments. That's it from us in this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching.